Gaurav, what is your opinion regarding the right to privacy and the recent Aadhar verdict?
See, as far as right to privacy is concerned, the whole controversy arose when the government started arguing in Supreme Court in support of Aadhar, that citizens don't have the right to privacy, and the former Attorney General even went so far as to argue that a citizen or an individual doesn't have the right over his own body, his or her own body. So they went to the logic to that extent, and they said that a right to privacy doesn't exist in India. They basically based their understanding on two judgments of the Supreme Court, very old judgments, one decided by an 8-judge bench and one decided by a 6-judge bench, Khadak Singh and MP Sharma judgments, which the court obviously noted, and the Attorney General failed to point out that these two judgments of 6 judges and 8 judges had thereafter been overruled by a 7-judge bench and a 9-judge bench. What these two, I'll make it very brief, what these two judgments which were overruled essentially said was, the three basic rights, Article 14, Article 19 and Article 21 are 3 independent silos and have to be read individually, have to be seen individually, and there is no coalescence of all of these articles. Whereas these two judgments, R.C. Cooper and Menaka Gandhi, said that all 3 are part of one golden triangle, have to be read harmoniously. And thereafter there had been a slew of judgments, at least about 100 judgments, where the Supreme Court and various high courts had upheld the right to privacy. So for the government to argue that there is no right to privacy or an individual doesn't have the right over his or her own body was a very regressive stance in my respectful understanding. The Supreme Court, by a 9-judge bench decision, has very emphatically laid down the law that yes, there is right to privacy. What the government was saying was a regressive position. Coming to Aadhar, Aadhar is, of course, whether it's a good initiative, of course, whether there were problems in our public distribution system and there were pilferages and the distribution system was not functioning properly in the absence of a biometric system, where these benefits were not reaching the intended end user beneficiaries, yes, there were problems. But now that Aadhar has been created, of course it's a noble initiative, but there have been teething issues. What we now understand is, once Aadhar has been put in place, now the government is working towards looking into the possible problems that it may encounter in terms of data privacy, breach of privacy, all of those issues, which in my respectful understanding, perhaps could have been done earlier. We could not, it's like putting a cart before the horse. What has also been a constant criticism of Aadhar is, it's become all encompassing, where the government has tried to link it with, mobile numbers and PAN cards, which has now been stayed by the Supreme Court. But it's a good initiative overall. Let's see, going forward it has teething problems which every social experiment has, which I'm sure will iron out in the future. We'll have a better system perhaps going forward.